types of airfoils and the different kinds of airfoils, what specific applications they have, etc. So this is how I explored fields. Okay, this was in the mechanical, and I explored electronics as well. Me and my friends in electronic branch, we explored some microcontrollers like Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and Atmega 16. We use these to create small applications robots, like a soccer robot, like a soccer bot, which detects the ball and hit it towards the goal, and a line following bot, that's pretty common bot, and object detector, etc. So these were quite interesting, but I was not really into it. Then I did some minors in computer science, data structures, database management systems, those data structures, linked list, all those things, and C language. I was good at Python too, while programming Raspberry Pi for robots. So I developed my Python skill there, and these were running in parallel. So I started, as I told, I started simulating flow over airfoils, and I started learning softwares for it, like ANSYS, SimScale, and MATLAB. I was introduced to these softwares, and I started learning about it, and I, slowly searching here and there from the net and learning to use those software and different kinds of options available in it. So yeah, then we heard of a competition organized by Boeing around at the end of my second year. They organized, it's called Build Innovation Program by Boeing. It's run across 7 IITs throughout India and 1 IISc at Bangalore. So we just applied to it. They were asking for an idea. If you have an idea, submit to us. And if you're as a team of 3, and if you're selected, we'll have a 7-day training program kind of, and then there'll be a final round of competition. So that's where I dwelled a lot into aircrafts, like what kind of specific ideas I can look for to submit to that. And then I had this of bionics, like implementing nature towards aircraft. There are a lot of aircrafts, right? Morphing, for that matter, we call it specifically morphing, right? So adaptable wing. I wanted to change the camber and thickness of an airfoil in mid-flight. Just like we use flaps and slats for as high-lift devices during takeoff and landing. I wanted to have such a wing which can adjust its thickness and camber to achieve optimum lift according to conditions, different conditions. So this was my idea that I proposed. We got selected, and we did some, it turns out it was kind of a marketing class rather than technical one. They were focusing on how to start a startup, what are the ideas behind it. I hope I'm not boring you, right?
No. I really want to know what's like the idea behind your, the idea that you're learning, or what are you learning from this whole thing. To be honest with you, whatever you have told me so far is pretty interesting actually. And the reason is, I think what year are you in your undergrad?
I'm in final year right now.
Final year. Let me ask you, what is your plans? Like, what are you doing? What are your plans after this? Or do you have any plan or not yet?
Yeah, I'll come to that. I will just come to that.
Yeah,
I just want to go through these
first.
Yes,
sure.
So that's how I got introduced to morphing, and I started dwelling into it. I looked at mechanisms, different kind of mechanism to morph it. Then I came across these interesting materials which can, shape-shifting materials, shape memory alloys, nitinol, all those things. It was pretty interesting. But again, I found out that materials was a kind of theoretical subject, and I found out like it wasn't as much interest to me. But one of my teammates got into that. Like he was really interested, like really interested in that. I've seen one of your videos with Sanket, who is in Duke right now. So if you remember, so he's actually asking guidance from him, Sanket. So they are working in the same line. So that's how he diverted his field from aerospace to materials. and I sticked on to aerospace because I am mainly interested in, speed, as I told, supersonic, hypersonic. Then I started exploring. I went to IASC. We saw hypersonic wind tunnel. It was pretty interesting how it works, and low speed wind tunnels, all those,
Yeah,
which got
actually, I
me
was
more.
about to tell you that did you because they have the laboratory for hypersonic and shock wave research, I think.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, we went there. I went along with my professor, and we went there, and it was pretty interesting. We just saw the lot. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the opportunity to intern there. So yeah, apart from that, so again, I started learning about materials. Okay, this was my engineering
Did,
background,
did,
and
did you did you met any professor there or not?
yeah, I've met a couple of professors, and I've made like 12 to 15 professors. Most of them didn't reply. A couple of them replied that right now they were occupied. And meanwhile, COVID broke out.
Hmm.
So yeah, uh, so throughout this journey, I really wanted to extend my and study. I didn't want to take a job right away. So I thought of
Hmm.
doing masters, and I started searching for masters. Found out that US was the best in aerospace to do masters. Like among all the countries, US had the best colleges for aerospace. Especially, I'm a big fan of Tony Stark, Iron Man. It's a fictional
Hmm.
character, but still, I'm a big fan of it. Like I really like
I like it
Lockheed
too.
Martin. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really like Lockheed Martin and F-22, SR-71,
right.
Nighthawk, B2, whatnot. Everything is legendary there. Everything. Even I saw the recent prototype of SR-72.
Yeah,
It's like really really good. They switched the inlets to have the low speed and high speed switch, right? So yeah, I still have the dream to like work with Lockheed Martin. I don't know if I'll be able to achieve it, but yeah, I intend to do my masters in US in the same line, aerospace. So this was my engineering background. So while searching for my masters around in the start of second year, I guess I thought I thought of going to masters around second year itself. So I was a bit skeptical whether to do an engineering management masters or like a purely engineering one, like a purely MS or MBA. I was a bit skeptical about that because I was also interested in managing. Like I wanted to become a CEO of some big company. So I was interested in such high position, managing people and overlooking the research labs, etc. So I had this. My friend got me introduced to a marketing class which taught about all the fundamentals of marketing, like the management, like the marketing, sales, and operations, HR, finance. So I've learned the basics of those, and I realized that these things can be learned anytime I want. Like it can be learned in home, it can be learned through, like remotely. It just take around 10 months maximum to get an MBA. Like I've heard some from some people that they can some people do an executive MBA of 10 months, like just to boost their position in some companies. So that can be done too. But MS is not such thing. MS is this is the right time that I should be doing MS. That's what I when I talk to professors, that's what they suggested me.
So
So
what's the
then
what
yeah,
are you planning here? Planning to give your GRE and move on? Is that your
I
plan?
gave GRE once. Like I was in midst of my project and internals, so I got pretty low score around 315.
Hmm.
It's exactly 314. I was planning to give the GRE by next 2 weeks or so. I am re-preparing for it again. So
Okay.
yeah, I know it's
I
not enough. It's not a good score, but
so
yeah,
Arjun, I think I I heard a lot from you. So let me talk to you about what my
yeah,
take
sure,
on you. Okay.
sure,
So couple of things here, which
okay,
which I hear from you. So I think
okay,
that's good that you have developed an interest on research and you have narrowed down an area that you're interested in and all. That's all good,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
and you have ambitions. That's perfect. There is nothing wrong in
Yep.
it. People should have
Yep.
ambitions.
Yep.
But there are a couple of things I want to tell you. One is
Okay.
being an undergrad, and I think I was the same.
Okay.
That I want to do a lot of things. This, and
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yep.
But I would say, because in your case, if you know that this is the area of your interest you want to do, focus on
Yeah.
that.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. If that is
Okay.
the case, don't
Yep.
divert too much.
Okay.
That management, this and that, because
Yep.
as I said, all these things you can do anytime you want,
Yep.
as you said, right? And
Yep.
right now I'm doing my MBA after working for industry in 5-7 years. So
Cool.
you can do that. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Again, as I said, if you are interested in the area of research you want to do,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, so how,
Okay.
so second part is, let's say, how, so the idea for you is, look, I want to get into a good university and all that. So that has nothing to do with your interest. Nobody is going to give it, okay, this Arjun is interested in research, you need to get a good score. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Amit, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I think my connection is not good. I lost you where you said the second thing.
Yeah, the second thing what I'm saying is, you need to get a good score.
Okay, yeah.
There is
GRE,
no,
right?
that, yeah, there is no compromise on that if you want to get into a good school. I don't know, 315
Yeah.
is a good score, 320 is a good score. I don't know that, but that is the case. The third
Okay.
part that comes here
Okay.
is, if
Okay.
you gonna come to US for your masters,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
99.9% chances are you won't get funding.
Yeah. I've searched about
Okay.
it. Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
are you well off to pay for that? Think about it. Because in US or in any part in the world, you can get admission if you're willing to pay. That's not a big thing.
Okay.
But the problem here
Okay.
happens is, what are you going to do after that?
Okay. Yeah.
Because right now, most of the students are going through this particular problem. They have loans,
So,
they don't have jobs,
okay.
and and you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
So my advice would be is, as I said, looks like you are interested in research, looks like you want to do something, commit yourself for a PhD program if possible, if you want to do that. the
So,
other the, the other way to do that is, you can
okay.
do your masters. Again, depends on, actually I saw on LinkedIn today that I think IIT Kanpur or someone, they announced a gate uh, gate exam, entrance exam for 2021. I think it's in February or something.
Okay.
If I was you,
Okay.
and if I am so interested in research in this particular area and I want to learn more before I commit myself,
Okay.
for me, getting into a master's program at ISC at a hypersonic lab is the best thing that can happen to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So if you are able to get an admission there, I
Yeah.
would say, rather than focusing on your GRE and going for a
Okay.
master's program, because that's the easy way
Okay.
out. That's the
Okay.
easiest thing you can do. Everybody see, the people, the reason why people go for a master's program in US and get admission to a university is because they are willing to pay from their pocket. The challenge is if you get a scholarship,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that, as I
True.
said, the chances is 99.9% is, chances are, is almost zero.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Okay.
I've read
And
about it.
again, if you are well off, if you can pay for that, good for you. But I don't,
Okay.
I am not a big fan of paying for your education.
Yeah. True. So, couple of more things from my side. So, as I told, I've been doing this stuff, searching about masters. What are the chances that I can get scholarship? What are the chances that I can get funded? As you said, it's 100% true that 99.9% I won't be get, like even a partial funding. So first thing, I then decided that I would probably, most probably continue my PhD there itself, so that I'll get funded there for my PhD and continue my work there. So second thing, as you said, a job is like really scarcity, and especially for aerospace, it's more tough, right? Like there are a lot of restrictions, the ITAR restrictions, and for aerospace companies to getting into aerospace companies. So I've even thought about it. Apart from these, two of my professors advise, like you can get into some general companies like General Electrics, Rolls Royce, Pratt and Whitney, these kind of companies where uh, you know uh,
You
they
need
allow
you
international.
no, they don't allow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, and I'm talking about the situation right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting into any
Yeah.
aerospace company,
Yeah.
or companies who work for aerospace type of companies.
Okay.
Most of
Okay.
these companies are defense contractors or things like that.
Yeah.
So
True.
the the chances for an international student to get a job there is zero.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even after my PhD.
it doesn't matter. You are an international student.
Okay.
You have to be a US citizen.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So as I said, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is that other part, I mean, you should watch my other videos. I keep on saying the same thing. A lot of
Yeah.
time you have to worry about immigration also, because as a master's student you can't get a green card and a lot of other things. And you can watch my
True.
video why and why not. But as a PhD
True. True.
student from India, the chances are much higher.
Yeah.
And that's how many students stay here, and they then switch jobs and they become citizen, and then they get a job at companies they want to do. And say
Okay.
I have done the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it's a process. It's not you're gonna
Yeah.
graduate, they're gonna hire you.
Yeah. True.
Exceptions are always there, but I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I have not heard any hear about it. So I can't, I won't advise you to follow that path and say, okay, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna get a job. That
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other thing is that if you are going to do your PhD or whatever, I think it should be out of your interest and what you want to do. I'm pretty sure you
Okay.
will able to find, because I think there is a video I have from a student from Oklahoma State University. There's a girl who was doing PhD from Bangladesh. She's doing in the
Okay.
area of drone and surveillance and all that. My advice her was
Okay.
the same.
Okay.
So as I said, go through the videos, you will find the same thing,
Sh-
similar things, and a lot of students in the same position who are doing PhD, who are doing masters in aerospace, and
Sure.
what is the struggle they are going through. You can find it out,
Sure. Sure.
and you can say, oh, I shouldn't do the mistake, or I should do it. That's totally up to your decision. But as I said, since you're so keen into working in this area and all that, I would, and if you're so committed,
Okay.
to the topic. As
Yeah.
I said, if you get into a master's program in hypersonic, I see that would be the best thing that can happen to anybody.
Yeah. So
It's a it's
about
a it's a
this.
it's a it's a tough thing. It's not
Yeah.
going to be, it's an extremely tough thing, but
So
that's on the other thing you can also look for is the the Queen's University in Australia. They have a good hypersonic program.
okay.
So
Can you name the university again?
I think it's a Queen's University in Australia. If you Google it,
Okay.
hypersonics,
Yeah. Sure.
Queensland,
Sure. 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 Sure.
Queensland hypersonics, I think you will see that. So
Okay.
I would say there are many other universities who do the same thing. But as I said, most of these programs on hypersonics
Yeah.
or aerospace, they're defense related, right? And
Yeah. True.
one has to be very careful about, if you're going to work on those programs, on those universities, what would be after that. Because as I said, since you're not going to be the citizen of that country, for you to get admission or get a job in a company would be difficult. And as I said,
True,
I
true.
think as I said, go through some of my videos. I have spoken to a student who worked on Airbus. Actually, there was a student whom I spoke. He was finishing up his programs in, I think, Queen's University in hypersonics. He was saying the same thing. So I think
Yeah.
it's very general. So,
Okay.
as I said, before you make that decision, right?
Okay.
But there is
Yeah.
another way also, as I said, and I am the example for that. My background was not in aerospace. My background was
Yeah.
not in any of that area. In fact, my bachelor's was in mining engineering. So
Yeah.
I made it. So I think anybody can do it. But
Okay.
there is a process you have to follow. But the
Yeah.
process would be, you finish you do work, you work in the area which you are interested in, and rather than targeting aerospace or something, you can target area which is not aerospace, but similar to that. As I said, material science is a very good area.
So that's what I was going to talk. The after I got to know some of these things, not all I would say, but some of these things what you're talking about, in the end of my second year. So then I started exploring, and I thought of making my field a more general, like fluid mechanics, so that I can get into like automobiles and investigating aerodynamic drag or ocean engineering for that matter. I was trying to make my field more generic kind of thing. So
I
then I
think
got
that's a
into fluid mechanics.
I think that's a good idea.
Then I found a project where I was simulating flow over airfoils, and we were trying to optimize it, better solutions than RAM's equation can provide. Such softwares like ANSYS can provide. Then this made me learn machine learning as well. So I learned machine learning. Then I used
See,
it for my
see,
yeah
as I said, we can go on this topic, but what's your focus right now is to get admission into a good university in a good program in this area so that you can move further, right? That's your goal,
yep yep
right?
yep.
And what I'm saying is, don't focus on that goal,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So as I said, a good GRE score is a must,
Okay. Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
can talk about your research and all that, but that comes after that.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're not able to secure admission at a good place. But second thing, worry about your loans. Are you going to take a loan?
Yeah.
Because a good GRE score, and for you to commit for a PhD program, is only way you can get a scholarship.
True. Yeah.
That's number one,
Okay.
because everything happens after that, correct?
Good. Yeah.
Because if you
True.
don't have a good GRE score, if you are not committed for a PhD program, that means you're not going to get admission to a good university in a good
Yeah.
program, no scholarship. So everything
Yeah.
what you're saying is not going to make any sense. So
True.
again,
I agree.
focus yourself what you want to do now. So
Yeah.
your focus has, so as I said, I understand with your discussion, what you want to do. That's good. That's number one.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
to get that, that's the second step. So your focus now, right now, should be, as I said, getting into a good GRE score, talking to professors who are working in the area of, as you said, I like this thing what you said is actually, rather than committing for a fluid mechanics for a aerospace program, I think if you get into a mechanical engineering in a fluid mechanics, that would be much better actually. Because as I said, the application of fluid mechanics is not in just one area but in many areas. And if
Yeah.
everything goes fine, maybe tomorrow you will be working with a company who works in that program, and you will be doing
Yeah.
something amazing thing. So that can
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
again, but my my advice to you would be is, what your focus is on. I think talking to you, it seems like you would be a good candidate for a PhD program, to be honest with you. I think you
Thank
have
you.
you understand what research is, and you are excited about that. um,
Yeah.
this is really good. But if once you narrow down that thing, don't divert too much. I want to do MBA, what I should do, that is, you can do all those things whatever, whenever you want, if you are committed to a particular area and what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay, but as I
Yeah.
said, make sure that if you're not able to secure admission. See, then let me give you another example. So when I was a student like you, right,
Okay.
exactly at your position, 15 years back, and we were thinking of going out for a PhD and all that. Uh, and a lot of our friends who were in your position, everybody was very committed towards the work, not like the result.
Okay.
So don't focus too much about what's going to happen after that. So focus on what your interests are, and you're going to do good about it. The second thing
Sure.
is, as I said, not a big fan of taking loans, and I don't advise anybody
Yeah.
to take a loan. I think education, if you are so good into something, you should be able to get a scholarship. So
Okay.
do that. Don't get
Okay.
loaned. And sometimes that happens is professor says, I'm going to give you 50% scholarship, I'm not going to give you 100%. That's fine, but don't end up paying your tuition from your pocket and then worry about the loans.
Okay.
That's if you have a lot of money in your pocket, that's fine, but not many students are like that, so I don't advise them to do that. So that's another thing.
I'm one among the many students you're talking
Yeah.
about. I don't have a lot of
Uh,
thing in my pocket, and I don't
right.
want to be dependent on my parents. So, yeah.
Right, because one of the things that I have seen is a lot of students who are not able to secure jobs. It's a pressure, on a student. It's a pressure in their parents too. So I don't advise. So as I said, the thing's gonna work out. Focus on
Yeah.
your work and get a good score.
Okay.
It could be possible that Um, so let me give you another. I think, let's say if you're able to get into admission at Stanford, let's say, okay,
Okay.
and you are able to get admission at another university, let's say Rice University in Texas, right?
Okay.
One
Okay.
is the Stanford, one is Rice University. Rice University is paying you a scholarship. Stanford is not paying you a scholarship,
Okay.
right? That can
Okay.
happen. And you said, oh,
Okay.
Stanford is such a good university, I really should join there, but Rice is paying me scholarship. If I was you, I will join Rice.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Right. So
I agree. Completely agree.
what I'm saying is the loans are never good, but it will happen that, let's say if you're able to join Rice University, maybe after working there for 2 years or so or whatever, you can always transition to a better university and so forth.
Yeah. True.
So if that can happen, and so don't worry too much about that. But as I said, right now focus on your GRE. If you are able to focus on other stuff also, I would say focus on your GATE exam, because
Okay.
I can tell you one thing for sure. If you are able to get into a program at ISC, um, and finish your masters there, for you to get into Stanford or MIT as a PhD student uh, would not be very difficult, for sure.
True. I have a couple of seniors who are pursuing their PhD at MIT, and they
Yeah.
were from ISC.
Yeah.
So,
So
one thing about
that's as I said, this is the other way you can position yourself.
that, GATE, around 8 lakhs to 10 lakhs people appear for GATE, and for masters in aerospace at IASC, I should be in top 60. So GATE is kind of an exam where like we are trained to solve problems rather than think about problems, and it needs a lot of practice. So
I mean,
I'm a bit skeptical
there,
there.
I understand you're skeptical, but there is no substitute to hard work.
True.
I mean, I can't tell you, oh, there is an easy way out to do something, right? There is no easy
Yeah.
way out to anything. That's why many people take loans and get into ABCD university, because that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay. Yeah.
as you said, most of the US universities or universities outside in other part of the world are business. So you pay them, you can
Okay.
get any degree you want. That's up to you to decide. But if you really
Okay.
want to do something and you say, I don't want to take loan, you have to do hard work. So, as I said, there is no substitute to that. And many students end up doing, getting into, any universities in US or anywhere in the world is merely because of that, because they don't probably they are not looking for doing hard work and and get
Okay.
into a good university and say this is the right thing to do, rather than, which is fine too. I don't say this is not good, but I think the reason is because that's the easiest path. Take a loan, get
Okay.
into admission, and maybe you can find a job, which many people do. It's not like they
Okay.
don't do. But right now with COVID and all, what we have seen is that that model has a little bit failed actually, because a lot of students are
Okay.
having trouble now, and now with
Okay.
loan and all that. And the other thing is that from with immigration perspective, getting into a master's program won't land you anywhere. So maybe you won't have a problem right away, but you will have problem down the road. I have spoken to a lot of students who lost their job after 5 years and they have to go back to India. So
Okay. Yeah.